Hey you, I saw you from the distance.
Luckily for us, Kurt's parents kindly offered to look after little Rusty for a few days while we went and explored Kakadu.
We waved goodbye to little Rusty and left her and our caravan behind.
Our first stop was to the entry sign to grab a quick picture before officially heading into the national park.
Not far in at all was our first official swimming hole spot.
We're at the rocky hole at the start of the Kakadu.
It's not signposted, it's just on wiki. So first stop in Kakadu we're going to go check out.
Well, let's go.
This place was croc free and the perfect spot to have a nice refreshing dip with only a handful of people about.
After cooling off, it was time to head to our next stop in Kakadu, Gunlom Falls.
Only a short stroll from the car park brings you to the base pool, but Gunlom is famous for its infinity pool at the top, so we trekked the 1.5 kilometers uphill to get to it.
Once we got up top, it was chock-a-block with people waiting to watch the sunset, just like us.
We had a quick dip, then found a spot to watch the sun go down.
Patiently waiting while people left so we could get this epic shot.
The Gunlom campground was also very busy due to a long weekend in Darwin, so we decided to drive back the 20 kilometers to the Kumbolly Creek campground.
The next day we got up early and headed down to Motorcar Falls, a steady 3.8 kilometer hike in with a bit of rock hopping in the last few hundred meters to get to the falls.
We were the first ones there, so jumped in straight away. The waterfall was only trickling, but we didn't mind, it was still lovely.
All refreshed, we walked back to the car to head to our next spot.
Our next waterfall was Maguk, aka Barramundi Falls.
We liked Maguk Falls. A steady 2 kilometer walk in brings you to a fast flowing waterfall. Although there were lots of people, it didn't feel too cramped as the base pool was quite large.
The water was a nice bluey colour and quite clear. We had a little bit of fun near the waterfall before strolling back.
We stopped for a bit of croc spotting near the large river at the front. No crocs were spotted though.
Now, hearing from other travellers that the road into Jim Jim had recently been graded, we decided to try to make it out there in the afternoon.
The road was very smooth and relatively easy. Once you get to the last 10 kilometers, it gets narrow and windy.
We made great time, with it only taking us 55 minutes from the highway turn off to the Jim Jim Falls car park.
Walking in, it was mid-afternoon, so a lot of people were walking out as we were trekking in. The walk in is about 2 kilometers of mostly rock hopping.
Once we reached the Jim Jim Falls Gorge, we were speechless. What an absolutely stunning gorge.
The towering sides made this one of the most epic gorges we have ever visited. Due to the surrounding high cliffs, very little sun hits the pool, so the water was freezing cold.
I braved a full body dip where Kurt was just happy wetting his legs.
Back to the car and off to our next campsite for the night. My parents have told us they loved the sandy Billabong campsite.
We slightly misjudged how far away it was and found ourselves driving in right on nightfall. Check out this little green frog who jumped on our windscreen during the last few kilometres in.
And here is our Kakadu setup. Here we have the rear section of the car, which has the kitchen and all the various kitchen stuff, and there's the swag, that's where we sleep. There's a Milwaukee fan that keeps us cool at night. Over here we got the pan. So here's the rest of the kitchen. There's a fridge. There's our water. Very nice, very nice. We've got lots of light going on. Here we go, where are we going here? Looks like we're going to the campfire. And we got the chairs set up. So looks like a very nice night. What's that? Amy's having a beer and enjoying the campfire, so happy times.
Next morning, we headed up the road to an Aboriginal rock art site.
It took us 20 minutes to walk the 1.7 kilometers in, and boy was it worth it. Now, it's a big call, but we reckon this is the best variety of Aboriginal art we have seen on our trip.
You could actually make out most of the artwork pieces, and the accompanying signage was helpful to understand each piece.
Good morning, guys.
Hello. Just been to a Aboriginal rock art site this morning.
It's pretty cool.
Third day here in Kakadu.
And we're heading to Cahill Crossing now to see some crocs
Yeah.
and the tide movement change.
Yeah, so high tide's at 1, so it'll be get there at about 11:30 and we'll sit there until it changes, so it should be good. Pretty excited to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bloody hot. Can't believe they call this winter up here. Sweating our bums off.
Yeah.
Alright, we're heading to Cahill's.
Cahill's Crossing was one of the things we had heard so much about and was excited to see in Kakadu. We have been told to make sure that we're there 2 hours before high tide to see the full effect of the tidal change.
There was a fair few people around when we got there, with a few crocs already hanging around.
I could not resist not having a flick as the tide was coming up. Don't worry, I perched myself high up on the rock wall.
More and more crocs started appearing. We reckon the people fishing on the crossing were crazy.
The tide changed very quickly. Not long after the change, some cars decided to cross, with crocodiles just sitting meters away.
Even this little Yaris cross, people were cheering when it made it to the other side.
Check out this recently burnt out motorhome sitting in the car park. That's a bit unlucky.
We're live from Cahill's Crossing. Kurt is fishing, and Cahill's Crossing is just over there, and there's a crocodile over there. Don't know if you can see him. Let's see if you can catch a barra.
After a good hour, no fish were caught, so we headed up to Uber Rock. I cooked us up a late lunch, early dinner, as our stomachs were severely rumbling.
Once our stomachs were filled, we headed into Uber.
We checked out the art sites along the base before climbing up to the lookout.
Our plan was to stay for sunset, but we decided to skip sunset and instead leg it back to camp to see our little Rusty. With 3 days away from her, we were missing her a lot.
It was so nice to be back with little Rusty and in our van. Kurt's parents reported she was very well behaved in our absence. She was a good girl. We relaxed around Robin Falls for the rest of the day, just doing a few little things, before packing up and continuing the track west the very next day.
We made it into Catherine just after lunch, doing a little shop before heading to the hot springs to cool off.
After our swim, we headed out of Catherine to a free camp for the night.
The scenery was great driving into the Victoria River region. The highway was surrounded by these towering red cliffs. It was a really cool sight to see.
We found a nice shady spot for lunch and Kurt put the drone up for a few minutes.
As tempting as it was to spend the night here, we wanted to get closer to the WA border, so we decided to continue driving west.
One thing we're definitely loving about coming into the Kimberley region is the increasing sightings of the boab trees.
They grow so obscurely and each one seems to be quite unique.
So we pulled into our final campsite in the Northern Territory. It was nothing flash, just a roadside gravel pit. We find sometimes these are the best campsites as there are no crowds.
The next morning, it was only a short 40-kilometre drive until we were at the WA border.
We grabbed a family photo at the sign before heading up to the quarantine checkpoint.
We were all good. Check. Yew! We're finally in WA and can't wait to explore.
Join us next time as we work our way towards the start of the infamous Gib.
And don't forget to hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Cheers, legends.